Alright boys, so I didn't do a Q&A for 2 weeks only because I was wondering if we were going to get any more questions, which we didn't get that many more questions, but I'm glad I still waited because it would have been a very, very short Q&A. So I'm still going to try to go through it very quickly, but let's get started. So essentially, if you want to be a part of it, all I have to do is put your comments down below and I'll answer them for next week's Q&A. So let's start off with Hayden. It says, if you were to get Kusa for your PS5, is it possible to also get it on your PS4? And typically, when you order Kusa for PS5, and it's funny that I'm still getting Kusa questions after Kusa has ended, but if you have Kusa for PS5, it means that you have the graphic update, which you don't have it on PlayStation 4. And technically, yes, you can put your PS5 Kusa on PS4, but your PS4 will run a lot slower, at least on Battlefront 2. I've tried it personally, and I don't recommend it because it could also damage your PlayStation. So to answer your question, yes, it does work, but I don't recommend it. And Hippo said, what is your personal favorite YouTube streamer for Battlefront 2? I don't have a real favorite Battlefront 2 streamer slash YouTuber on Battlefront 2. I would say myself. Like, sometimes I rewatch my own stream and I find myself really entertaining. And I'm not trying to be like cringy by just saying like I'm always betting on myself. But there's not really that many other streamers that I actually enjoy watching. Not even Battlefront, just anywhere else. And his next question is, what about non-BF2 content creators? YouTubers that I like watching, I don't really watch that many YouTubers. I guess KSI is the only one that I've been watching since I was a kid, but I don't really watch him as often. But even then, I don't watch his entire videos. And apart from him, I don't have a single YouTuber that I watch all the time. I really like Wade's Concept. But apart from that, I'm not super into YouTubers these days as much as I used to be. I just watch YouTube to learn stuff at this time and age. Also, Jedi says, any angry Kusa customers or people wanting refunds? Surprisingly, no refunds. None. Angry Kusa customers, there's been one that was disappointed because he ordered 60 FOV. And default FOV is 55, so it's not that big of a difference. So he was kind of like disappointed. Like, he was like, what the hell is this? I mean, he asked for it. But that was the only sort of angry, you could say. And then we get Daily Gem. He says, which Battlefront game do you prefer? That's a really good question. I was going to make a video about like a 1v1 between Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 1. And honestly, if I had to only keep one game forever, it'd have to be Battlefront 2. Like, at the end of the day, it has to be Battlefront 2. But Battlefront 1 is not that far off. Battlefront 1 is immensely good. It's much more immersive than Battlefront 2, which is really good in a game. Because you imagine playing a game where it's not immersive. It takes a big part of the game, because what you want in a game is it to be fun, immersive, and you can have a lot of replayability on it. There's a couple factors that you need to have in a video game for it to be a successful video game. One of them being consistency. So the fact that Battlefront 1 is super immersive and a lot more immersive than Battlefront 2, it takes the edge there, but it's just Battlefront 2's replayability is a lot more than Battlefront 1, I would say. I still play Battlefront 1 a lot. That's why there's Battlefront 1 content in the background. But if I had to pick one, the one I prefer, Battlefront 2. I was going to say Battlefront 1, but I can't. It has to be Battlefront 2. There's just much more things to do. Camino K says, do people often order Kusa but not pay for it afterwards? No, we just wouldn't give it to them. That's a funny question. Kenda asks, what is your opinion on the Star Wars Outlaws trailer? Yeah, I didn't even finish the trailer. I'm going to be honest. I'm beyond unexcited for that game. I looked at the trailer. I was like, ugh, fine, I'll watch it. I mean, it's a Star Wars game. And then I double tapped to like skip through it. You know, I can skip 10 seconds in a YouTube video. You guys probably already did it here. And I watched it a little bit, and I was like, you know what, this is boring. I just clicked off. So my opinion on it doesn't look good. I didn't even finish the whole trailer, to be honest with you. I'm just not excited for it. We want a game. We want a Battlefront 3 or something like Battlefront. They're not giving it to us. I'm sorry. I'm going to be extremely unexcited until we get something like that. William will ask, what's my favorite thing to bake? No, I'm not sure if this counts, but I would say like steak or chicken, because they're just really good for you, and I'd rather waste my time cooking that than cooking, I don't know, like cookies, for example. So it'd have to be them. And then we get Hippo asking the final question, and I think this is probably the most important one. And I have to think about this a lot. He asked me, what's your favorite race? Now, there's a lot of races out there, right? And I couldn't pick just one. I was like, well, what if I pick this one? What will people say? What do other people think? I was trying to think. I was like, I wonder what Hippo's favorite race is, because if I know his, then I'll just say it, and that way he won't lash out at me, or maybe none of you will. So after thinking about it, my favorite race is probably the 24-hour Le Mans in 1966. It's the one where Ford actually won against Ferrari. It's from the movie Ford versus Ferrari. And that is my favorite one. I honestly, when I saw that in the movie, the race, I became a racist ever since. But anyways, fellas, that was a Q&A. I tried to shorten it as much as possible. Some questions were way too weird for me to put them in here. I still want this to be like somewhat friendly and not just weirded out. So if you want to be in the Q&A, just put your questions down below, and a week from now on next Sunday, if there's a lot of questions. If there's none, I'll just delay it a week. But if not, then on next Sunday, your questions will be answered. So peace out, and tell me what you guys' favorite race is.